Welcome to The Herbal Ire, your podcast on all things holistic health, medical astrology, spirituality, herbalism, and so much more. Presented by your host, Ire Atla, medical astrologist, herbalist, and naturopath. Let's dive right into today's topic, love and light. Hi everyone, welcome back to The Herbal Ire. I'm your host, Ire Atla, and I am coming today to do part 2 in our 12-part series of the sun signs and your health. Today we are going to be speaking about Taurus. So before we dive into that, I wanted to update on a couple of things, do some housekeeping. So, in my last episode, I mentioned that the sun sign book that I just came out with was only available to those for the first 2 weeks that were signed up for my newsletter. Well, those 2 weeks have passed, so now it's open for everybody to download. I will include a link in the show notes for you to download your free copy of my sun sign and your health ebook. So this book details what role the planet of the sun, there we go, plays in your health, how it affects that, what it's for, and where in each sign it sits in your chart that lends to common health problems and other things that you may experience with your sun placement there in your natal chart, as well as holistic ways and herbs to help manage and prevent any of those conditions from happening. It's the perfect little, quick go-to book guide when you need something. You say, hey, something's going on, you can go look, see what the tips and suggestions are, and start enacting those at that moment to help you start feeling better when you start having issues. So it's a perfect book to have. It's an ebook, so you can put it on all of your devices, which makes it easily accessible no matter where you are, from your phone, computer, whatever. So I will put that in there. I highly recommend you go download it. It's been downloaded, I think, in the last 2 weeks, about like 45, 50 times. So yeah, it's getting popular. I'm super excited about that. I hope you all enjoy. And the next 12 weeks of episodes, last week and then this week and the upcoming ones, all kind of go into a little more detail on that book. So it's a great companion to have while you're listening to these podcast episodes. So pick up your copy today when you're done listening to here. All right, let's dive right in then to Taurus. So today's sign is obviously Taurus. It's the second sign of the Zodiac, and it's an earth sign. So today I will be talking about this amazing and wonderful sign, all the common health complaints and issues, and holistic ways to really help your body heal those, manage those, all that stuff. So let's dive right in. Taurus is the sign of the bull, and the glyph to represent it on your natal chart looks like a circle with a half moon on top, forming like the horns of the bull. Taurus is the first fixed sign that we encounter in the zodiac. So if you remember last week, we talked about the different modes. There's cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal is always at the beginning of a season, fixed is in the middle of a season, and mutable is at the end of the season. Currently, in our current transits, when I'm recording this, we are in a mutable season. We're in Gemini. It's a mutable sign. It's Gemini season. And anybody who is paying attention to the weather can tell you it is very mutable. One day it's bright and sunny. Next day it's pouring rain. Sometimes you even get all that in like the last 5 minutes, right? And so our weather lately has been very changeable, very mutable due to where the current transits are. And then once we move next week into Cancer, we'll be back in that cardinal sign, and it will be slightly calmer in many ways, and you'll see a lot of changes coming in nature due to the fact that we are switching from spring into summer officially on June 21st. Summer solstice, Litha, is coming up. I'm excited. We'll talk about that later. So back into Taurus. Because it's a fixed sign, this mode, the fixed modes, kind of can lend to a sort of stubborn and movable, hard to change quality to the personality, as well as the health of an individual with a native fixed sign. So that's a sun, moon, or rising in your natal chart. So if you have a sun, moon, or rising in a fixed sign, you might notice that you tend toward more like chronic health issues and less acute issues. Like you may be somebody who doesn't ever come down with like a cold or the flu, right? But you suddenly have, like celiac disease that you're diagnosed with, or some sort of like chronic inflammatory issue going on. So your body tends to be more like fixed in its nature of how it responds to things. And we see that in Taurus as well. So the fixed signs are, like I said, are in the middle of the season, where the weather, temperaments, and nature are a little more fixed and steady. The temp is more stable. There's less crazy weather. The flowers and fauna are all in full bloom. And since Taurus is the fixed sign right in the middle of spring, it has the added benefit of having plenty of baby animals being born and present as well. So it's just a really fun, great season to be in. Taurus is a yin energy, which is like the more feminine, receptive energy. So it's a very good sign to lean into if you are having some trouble integrating that more receptive, learning to just be energy in your life, especially being an earth sign. Earth signs are very grounded, and they usually tend to be very good at taking care of themselves, relaxing when they need to, slowing down when they need to, and listening to their bodies. So if you don't have a native, if you're not a native Taurus, learning to integrate your wherever your Taurus placement is in your chart better in your life can lead to some good things. Earth signs, like I said, tend to be more grounded, even keeled people. They are chill. Usually, they don't get phased easily. They tend to roll with the punches. Unfortunately, though, earth signs are more prone to illnesses that are caused from nutritional deficits, or that are very stubborn and stuck, that get stuck like in their body, their emotional body, their spiritual body, their physical body, etc. Earth signs, native earth signs especially, but anybody who has a high amount of earth type energy in their charts also will have the same need. They require lots of outdoor time, or it actually can make them sick. If they don't get enough time out in nature, then you will see their health starting to decline. And I have 2 Taurus in my family and a Virgo, and they're all my earth signs. And I can tell when they haven't had enough time outside, let me tell you. So I do see that running true in my family as well. So the ruler of Taurus is Venus. Venus is the planet of love and relationships, and it's one of the great benefics of medical astrology. So it means that it doesn't tend to cause problems. So the other great benefic is Jupiter. So they tend to not be ones that I'm really looking at usually when I'm looking at someone's natal chart to determine what's going on, as they tend to be more beneficial, hence the name benefic, than detrimental. So now that doesn't mean they can't cause issues, or that they can't be afflicted in your chart, or in a bad, bad in quotes location that's lending to some issues. But for the most part, Venus tends to be just like the planet that it is, right? Love and happy and generous, and doesn't and wants everything to be good and flowing well, and so it doesn't tend to cause as many issues. It is a very, again, yin energy, female energy planet, and so because of that, it also has a lot of that energy that it gives out of learning to lean into that Venusian energy and learn to be and listen and sit still and be more receptive to things and relax. So Taurus tends to really have that Venusian quality, right, of wanting to be more relaxing and being and enjoying life. You will find that because of this, Tauruses work to live and not live to work. So they're the ones that are super hard workers when they're there, but they're the ones who clock out exactly when their time is up, as they should, and they go home and they enjoy life. So they usually tend toward a pretty good work-life balance. Because of being ruled by Venus, Venus also rules Libra, which we will get into when we get to Libra. But because of this rulership, Taureans tend to have really good skin. They're not prone to acne. They're usually considered very beautiful by other people. They will have great hair, skin, and nails usually, and they make really good friends and lovers. So Venus, like I said, is the really like passive, receptive, feminine, yin energy planet. She's soft and supple. She wants everyone to love and be loved. So she really works on the subconscious mind to heal wounds that prevent you from like moving forward in your relationships, right? Taurus is the sign of the bull. It's a very revered animal in many cultures, as well as one that's considered very fertile. So, Taurus is actually one of the signs that I look to when assessing fertility issues in an individual. So, if someone comes to me wanting to become pregnant, then and they're having issues, then this is one of the places that I look first. This in Libra and Cancer, those are the signs that mainly govern the female reproductive tract in general. And then if it was a male presenting individual that was coming to me, then I would look at Mars, Aries, and also Cancer and Taurus and Libra. But for the most part, I would look more at Mars, as Mars governs male fertility and its location and what sign that it's in. So Taurus is considered like one of the moms of the zodiac. They love to help others. They like to look after them. They're like your work mom, right? You go to work and you're upset about something, and a Taurus will be your work mom who's like, oh my goodness, my poor little sweetie, I can't believe that. Let me give you a hug, and what else do you need? And they're the ones that bring like, all the baked goods into the office, or they want to throw a potluck and make everybody feel better. They remember your birthday and bring cake, all that fun stuff. They're the moms. They like to take care of people. Cancer is the other mom of the zodiac as well. And I use mom loosely in the fact that it could be a male who has the same quality. It's not just a feminine female presenting quality, but they're just considered the very nurturing signs of the zodiac. They like to nurture others and be there for them and help them out and remember all the little details about their lives and listen to their problems and console them. They're just, they have that mom type energy, right? They are also ones that believe every issue can be solved through some good food and kind words. And, well, they aren't really wrong. Food does fix a lot of things. Sometimes you're having problems because you're just hungry and you need to fucking eat. So, they're not always wrong in that, but unfortunately that can lend to some potential eating disorders, emotional eating in some cases. So if you are a native Taurus, that's just something to be aware of, and use that knowledge to just pay better attention to your own life of when you're using food for an emotional comfort, and decide if that's okay for you or if it's maybe lending to some health issues that we need to work on. So as far as what Taurus governs in the body, right, it rules the mouth, the first part of digestion, the thyroid, and like the ear, nose, throat area in general. It rules the second house on the natal chart wheel. So we learned about Aries last week. Aries, on the last episode, Aries rules the first house. So we go in order. So Taurus rules the second house. The second house is the house that corresponds to like money, possessions, values, skills that you can usually like use then to like gain your money or notoriety in some way. Taurus embodies the phrase I have. Taureans love their material possessions and their comfort usually. Like I said, they are people who love comfort. They love being comfortable. They love, like soft beds and fluffy blankets and laying on the couch eating their favorite foods, watching Netflix. Like they just they enjoy their comfort, and there is nothing wrong with that. Again, if you're not enjoying your comfort and just leaning into Taurus in your chart is a good way to add that. Like I said, most natives of Taurus signs are hard workers, but like I said, they work to live, not live to work. They work hard when they're there, but you shouldn't expect a native Taurus to come in on their days off or their vacations to dig the company out of a hole. As they shouldn't, right? Like, if the whole place will implode without them, they probably need a raise and then some more time off because they're probably carrying like 4 people's jobs. So, and that's okay. We're not here to just work our lives away and then die. That's not our purpose on this earth. And so if you find that you're kind of stuck in that pattern, then let's talk. We'll figure out some ways to get you out of that pattern so that you can lean more into being and less doing, and enjoy life more, because life is meant to be enjoyed. So let's talk then about Taurus in like its high expression or its high evolution or its low expression or its low evolution. So when Taurus is in its high expression, it's a very evolved Taurus. They've integrated their Taurian qualities well into their life from their chart. They will embody a really strong sense of like personal values. They'll have a reliable and consistent temperament. They're grounded and practical. They can be relied on in an emergency to come to your aid. They're kind and gentle and humble. They do move at their own pace, but they get shit done. So they will be the ones that you can come to when you need to get shit done. They are great retainers of information. These are the Jeopardy winners, everyone. They remember the smallest details of things and the most random information. These are the people that can spit out facts about things that you just were like, wait, where'd you even get that from? And they have no clue because they just retain things and they don't remember where they picked it up. They can be very affectionate, hospitable, and generous. Many are very artistically gifted as well, especially musically. You'll see a lot of really great singers throughout the ages have been native Tauruses or had a strong Taurus influence in their natal chart. They're highly attuned to nature. They're conscious creators of their inner spaciousness, peace, and silence. Like I said, when they're high evolution, they enjoy their downtime. They enjoy being, in nature. They enjoy just being. They don't enjoy just living to work. Well, when Taurus is in its opposite, right, in its low expression, it's not well evolved or integrated into the chart. They can become greedy and stubborn and flexible, possessive, jealous. They have a very rigid state of mind. It's very fixed. They're unable to see outside of the box and change their points of view, right? If somebody has come up with a reason why they should change their point of view, that, new facts that they just won't be able to see it. They're stuck only on themselves. They can be controlling or over materialistic, self-indulgent, extravagant, compulsive. They can have very low self-esteem and a poor self-image, which can then lead to potentially eating disorders. Due to the fact Taureans are the foodies of the Zodiac, they usually have great, well-balanced nutrition because they they like a variety in their diet. They like to eat different things, but they are also the gourmet foodies, right? They like all of the really rich type foods. So if they do stay in this low expression, right, and they don't evolve to the higher expression, they don't integrate their Taurus, nature well, that it can turn into a problem quickly and end up leading to eating disorders. So again, just something to be aware of and look out for if you are a native Taurus. So in this way, then, because of how Taureans experience life and whether or not they're in their high or low expression, to get into your high expression, into your evolved state, into your well integration, you need to really learn to accept and integrate that, like, the dynamics of change into your way of understanding life and yourself. So many prefer like stability, and without it, they can really devolve into their low expression quite quickly. So if they're not really careful to watch that it's going on and stop it before it gets too far out of hand. So your ultimate goal should be to create a state of peace and silence and a life of simplicity that has that stability to it, whatever that stability looks like to you, right? Stability looks different for every person. Some people's stability looks like what we do, right? We live in our van on the road, we travel constantly, we love that. We feel it's stable, we have our house with us always, and that is stability to us. We don't do well when we're stuck in one place for too long. Other people are the exact opposite, right? They want to be in one place, they want a house, and they want several cars, and they want to feel stable by having the same job for 30 years and staying in that house in this place that they found that they love, and having a Friday dinner with their friends every week, whatever works for them. So whatever that stability looks like to you, that's what you should lean into. And honestly, most of that all of that even can really be achieved through a direct relationship with nature and the earth. Living in the now and not living in the past, not looking too far into the future is really the best thing for a Taurus. Living in the here and now, enjoying what they have, being happy with where they are, and loving being out in nature and having time to themselves is the best thing that a native Taurus can do for their health. Common health concerns, then Taurus in the sun placement is very emphasized here, so it actually kind of helps steady and enhance the vitality from the sun. So because of that, Taurus is actually the longest lived of all of the signs, but only if they pay attention to their diet. If you are in the low expression where you are maybe overindulging in some of the, more gourmet rich foods, or you have developed into an eating disorder of some kind, then that obviously would change that. But if they pay attention to their diet, make sure it's well balanced, that their nutrition is well balanced, that they're eating nutrient dense foods, then they tend to actually live the longest of anybody in the zodiac. Overindulgence in the diet can actually lead to many health problems for this sign, which usually, like I said, turn into chronic health problems such as diabetes, heart issues, etc. This sign, being a fixed sign, tends to really hold on to like metabolic waste products and toxins instead of expelling them sometimes and not clear them as well as they should. So that can then lead to chronic health issues as well. So you really need to pay attention to the other side of the digestive tract, right? So Scorpio is the sign of polarity for Taurus. It's the opposite sign, and it rules the latter half of digestion. So if the latter half of digestion you're noticing issues like you're constipated, or you're having diarrhea, and you're not having regular bowel movements, and by that I mean like you're having one a day at least. 1 to 2 a day is normal, and they should be soft and formed, and they should sink in the toilet. If your stool is floating, that's not a good thing. That's a sign that your body's not digesting fats properly and your gallbladder and liver need some assistance. So if you're having digestive issues, though, on the other end, like the expelling end, then that can mean that there's certainly something going on either in the colon, which is what Scorpio rules, or there's something going on in the first half of your digestion, which is what Taurus rules. So you're either not chewing your food properly enough, maybe you're not making enough stomach acid, your liver or your gallbladder are struggling. And so there's ways that you can look into that, and there's ways that you can call me and we can look into it together, but definitely pay attention to what your digestive system is doing. That's super important for a Taurus. Other health concerns that can arise: hypothyroidism, too slow of a thyroid, goiter, which can also form from having too slow of a thyroid. It typically doesn't tend to form on too fast of a thyroid, but everybody's different, so just something to look out for. A goiter is like what looks like a growth in the front of your neck underneath your chin, and that can be a sign that there's some dysfunction going on in that area. Weight issues can be a problem, and this means maybe not gaining enough weight, right? They're underweight, or they're on the other end of that. It can just go back and forth. Everybody's different. And so again, just nutrition is something to keep an eye on. Gout, because they tend toward their rich foods, right? Toxemia, which is like a buildup of the toxins, the metabolic waste products in the blood, and it's not clearing, which can then lead to like throat issues, throat infections, ear infections, things like that. They are prone to excess mucus in the ear, nose, and throat areas, which can lend to a lot of the throat issues, tonsil issues, ear infections, things like that. They are more prone to constipation than diarrhea, tonsillitis, which again, when you start having constipation and tonsillitis, these are actually, even ear infections sometimes and other like strep throat, these can actually all be a sign of Scorpio reflexing up to Taurus, and that actually means something's going on in the colon, not necessarily in the area that it's showing up in. So you need to pay better attention to your colon health at that point. And then they are more prone to vocal cord afflictions, and this honestly can be just because many Taureans love to sing and use their voice in some way. These are, like the great speakers and singers and artists who use their voice in some way. And so because of that, they tend toward being, more prone to vocal cord afflictions because they're using their vocal cords probably more often than other people. And like I said, many of these problems can actually be caused by their polarity sign, Scorpio, reflexing up to the Taurus governed areas, or from the Scorpio ruled areas, building up toxins, and then the consequences of such showing up in the Taurus ruled areas. So it's definitely something to pay attention to, for sure, if you're having any of those. Herbs that are governed by Taurus that you can use to help with any of these Taurian issues. Ones that are sympathetic, meaning they work in the same nature as Taurus, right? That they help problems in a sympathetic way, is oak bark, cleavers, red root, black walnut, calamus, and blue flag. These are all herbs that really help, like, get rid of toxins buildup and inflammation, and they help with your digestion, and they help with the liver and the gallbladder. So all the things that Taurus is prone to. So they work in a sympathetic manner, right? Then you have the antipathetic herbs, which work in an opposite way, but can also help depending on what problem you're having. So that's cayenne, black pepper, sage, saw palmetto, holy basil, and prickly ash. So these are more like hot, spicy, dry herbs, right? So cayenne, black pepper, very spicy. They can work by helping to clear the polar opposite sign, right? Scorpio. Scorpio tends to get bogged down with a lot of water issues and colon issues, and so a lot of times it needs those purgatives and those hot, dry herbs to help dry things up. So these can bring that hot, dry nature in that can be required, as well as helping build up nutrients in the body that your body needs. So all ones that kind of work more on the polar opposite sign, but in turn help Taurus, because Scorpio is its opposite sign. Then holistic ways that you can add in to help prevent health issues, manage the health issues, all that fun stuff. Like I said, always tend to the colon and liver in this sign. So dandelion root or burdock root tea or tincture before meals can be very helpful here. If you're doing tea, it's going to be a very bitter tea, but that's the point. That bitter taste helps prime your digestive system. It helps your body start making the digestive juices. It helps prime the gallbladder to release the bile, and the liver to make the bile. It helps stimulate the pancreas to release its pancreatic enzymes, which help break down, stuff in your digestive system. Bile breaks down the fats, the digestive enzymes break down the proteins and other parts of the food that you've eaten. So it definitely is a good thing if you're having a lot of issues in your digestive system. Drinking some dandelion root or burdock root tea or taking the tincture prior can help. But you want to be able to taste it, right? So I know it tastes terrible, but you want that taste. Tasting it signals your body to do what it needs to do. So you don't need much. If you're doing a tincture, I would do 1 to 2 milliliters, especially with dandelion. Dandelion can have, if you take too much, have a very purgative effect on the colon, meaning that it's going to cause diarrhea. Burdock root doesn't have that as much, but still very bitter. And then if you're drinking a tea, I would only do about 1/8 to 1/4 cup, because you don't need much and it is very bitter. Sometimes it can be hard to get down. Again, watch the diet. It's definitely okay to eat your comfort foods, but make sure you balance those out with the more nutrient-dense whole foods. There's nothing wrong with the rich, gourmet type foods, but just make sure you're balancing that out with, good amounts of nutrient-dense whole foods. Again, ensure you're having daily bowel movements. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water or herbal tea. Taureans tend to dehydration a little bit, more water dehydration than oil dehydration. They tend to be fine on getting the oil hydration right through their diet. The oils from your foods, the fats from your foods help with that hydration section. So that's usually not the problem. The problem is usually water hydration, where they're not drinking enough water. They really tend to like their wine and coffee, and so can get fixed on drinking just those and then not much else. So making sure that you're drinking plenty of water or herbal tea daily. is very imperative. And make sure you're putting some electrolytes in that so that your body is actually able to use all of the water that you're putting into it. Make sure to incorporate plenty of your likes into your life daily. So this can include like music, art, nature, gardening, cooking, or baking. Uh, a lot of Taureans tend to be like chefs or pastry chefs or bakers because they really love food and they love enjoying food and they love making food for others. So that a lot of times brings them a lot of joy, and sometimes just doing it for your family only and not as a job can bring more joy depending. So again, just feel out how you feel about that. Building projects they love. They tend to really be into like crystals, herbs, animals. A lot of Taurians tend toward wanting to work in like animal rescues and things like that because they love animals. Ice aside in the bull, I guess that helps. I don't know, but they just have that open, kind heart to every being on the planet, and that includes the animals. So they tend to be a lot of the like animal rescue workers as well. Those things that I mentioned, all of those things, they just really help Taurus feel happy and healthy. So having hobbies and things that you can fall back on that you like to do are very important for a native Taurus. And get outside. You need plenty of sun as a Taurus. You need plenty of time in nature to stay happy and healthy. Taurus, like I said, loves their comforts. They love laying in bed in their comfy blankets, and so they tend toward being a sign that doesn't always like want to get up out of bed and go outside and walk. So the thing is that you need to take note of that. And if you notice that you're spending more time inside and not feeling well, that can be why you haven't been outside. So force yourself to go out, start a habit. Taureans are usually pretty good about starting and following like habits and habitual things because again they like that stability and that everything's the same all the time, right? And so starting a daily habit, daily trend, whatever you want to call it, of getting up every day and getting outside either in the morning or the evening or both is actually really good for them and will help your health. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Taureans are absolutely amazing individuals. They help contribute to the health of the collective through their art, their cooking, their overall kindness toward others and the animals. And these signs, when they're in their high expression, add such joy and balance to the collective. And we all could really learn to be a bit more Taurian in our nature, right? And lean more into that being, more and doing less. Living to live and, working to live instead of living to work, and falling into that Venusian quality of, love and happiness and relationships with people and animals and nature being more important than a relationship with our employer. So if you are a native Taurus and this resonated for you, I would love to hear from you. Either send me an email at info@twinravennaturals.com or find me on Instagram at twinravennaturals and let me know. Send me a DM, comment on a post, whatever. I would love to have you on my Instagram following me where I post all of my other stuff as well. If you're not already on my newsletter, I highly recommend signing up. There's a lot of special things that happen on the newsletter that you don't get other places. So it's definitely worth getting on there. Also, it really helps you find out where I'm at, other places where I'm speaking, things like that, in the upcoming, days, weeks, and months from that newsletter, as well as go download the book so that you have my book available when you need it. And if you're interested in knowing more about your natal chart and your health and how it all corresponds, and you are having a health problem and you want some assistance, please click the link in the box to sign up for, in the show notes, to sign up for a medical astrology reading, and I'd be happy to help you with that. So until next time, love and light. That's it for another great episode of The Herbal Ire. Tune in next week for more valuable content with your host, Ire Atla.